Hello, good people. Welcome back to the real. Mike, how
Hello,
you
B.
doing this fine Sunday, Mike?
I'm doing good. Been watching a lot of foosball. Had some interesting games today.
Yeah,
Some interesting starts in the AFC.
yeah, for sure. Mike and I wanted to hop on real quick tonight. I'm actually outside right now, cooking some food on my grill. Mike's chilling.
Beautiful night.
Yeah, so we're outside. We want to come on and recap real quick ahead of tomorrow night's Monday Night Football game because, as you can tell by the headline, Mike, the AFC is wide open.
Wide open. Every team looks beatable. And the talking heads do this every year, and we touched on it a little bit in our last episode, but they pump it up. Not to say that the points they made were incorrect. The AFC does have a ton of great quarterbacks and a ton of great talent all over it, but we tend to forget that teams just cannibalize themselves throughout the year. And I mean, it was an interesting football Sunday. The Chiefs bounced back with the win against the Jags, but they still don't look like they're playing well. I watched pretty much that whole game. There was the Bengals. My
That's the
goodness.
big one I want to start with. I watched a lot of that, most of that game. Uh, the Bengals look bad. Like they look like a high school team, like I said last week. Joe Burrow's limping off the field after the game. Defensively, they don't look good at all. They can't stop a run. But they just, I don't know, Mike. What do you think for the Bengals the rest of the year? You think they can turn it around?
I mean, I will say this for the Bengals. They started slow last year as well. They started 0-2 as well. And they did make it all the way to the AFC Championship game. I will say this against them, however. Their defensive back end is not playing well. They did lose their two starting safeties, one of which is a star, Jesse Bates, who has, by the way, played fantastic for the Falcons since they paid him. And another thing is, the offense, I don't know if they figured it out or if Joe Burrow is just, still a little behind the cuff because he was injured all off season. But so here's the thing, the Bengals and the Browns both are having division games to start. It might be a strength for the Browns if we can start 2-0 in the division playing the Steelers tomorrow. It might go really south for the Bengals having to play 2-0 because the last two games they lost, if I'm not mistaken, last year they played the Vikings and lost, and then I think it was another NFC team or an AFC team in a different division. They are 0-2 in the division, with the other teams being very competitive. And here's the thing. They lost to the Ravens, who they usually split with, at home. And they still have to play them in Baltimore. We still have to play them in Cincy, but again, to play you don't take your week 1 game, you don't take your week 2 game, you're 0-2 in the division now. And, if the Browns go into Acrisure Stadium, because it's not Heinz Field anymore, if we go into Acrisure and beat the Steelers and go to 2-0 in the division, that's a scary prospect. And then we play the Ravens in 2 weeks after that in Cleveland. And the Ravens, for all of their pluses, haven't looked very good. And Odell Beckham Jr.
I don't think the Ravens are really like this great team.
No, their
I wasn't
defense
impressed
played
by the Ravens. Yeah, I'm not really impressed by the Ravens. It's just the same old. Their defense plays well, but all they do is run the ball. They don't really do anything spectacular.
They'll have a really good game.
Who did?
No, I'm sorry, Gus Edwards. That's who I'm saying.
Yeah, Gus Edwards. Yeah, they ran the ball heavy there at the end of the game, but I don't. And they don't really intimidate anybody. I mean, Odell's not playing; he's hurt.
Odell's hurt.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't. I mean, I know the Bengals started off 0-2 last year, but they just don't feel the same this year to me at all. It just feels a little different.
Right. No, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. It's just it's a weird situation with the Bengals, and especially with the Ravens too. And the Chargers dropped to 0-2 to start the season.
Yeah, Chargers 0-2. They lost to the Titans, we thought they'd go in there and win easy, and that did not go out as planned. Obviously, lost on a game-winning field goal. Well, what did you see? I mean, not a good start there either, especially when you have the Chiefs not looking as good, and you could really take command of that division early on. What do you see from the Chargers, Mike? I don't know. The AFC, like that's what we said, the AFC is wide open.
Yeah, the Chargers, their defense is bad, and I don't know how you manage that when you have Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Derwin James, J.C. Jackson. They got dudes. It's not like they don't have dudes. They do. They have probably one of the best safeties in the league. A great pass rush duo. They have decent corners.
They gave up 27 points to the Titans.
Correct. Yeah, and Ryan Tannehill
threw stats right now. Yeah, Tannehill. Let's see. Justin Herbert was 27-41, 305, 2 touchdowns. So he had a pretty solid game. But Tannehill, 20-24, 246 and 1 touchdown. He got sacked 5 times, but they let Derrick Henry 80 yards, 25 carries. Tajay Spears 49 yards. So they had 141 yards rushing. And you look at the team stats. I'm looking at Tennessee had more first downs, way more rushing yards. So they're not really running the ball well. They only had 61 rushing yards.
Yeah, and Austin Eckler was hurt, but still. Well, I mean, I just don't. I don't know. I see.
Like we said on our last episode about all these teams, you got to be able to run the ball consistently. All these teams, Kansas City, Buffalo, the Bengals, all these teams, none of them run the ball consistently. Where I think the Browns might have the advantage there.
Right, and I think our defense is just flat out better than a lot of these teams. The AFC, just like I said, completely wide open. The Broncos is a tire fire. I don't know if any of you guys watched that, but the Broncos. So it was a wild game from start to finish. Mm-hmm. With 3 seconds left, Russell Wilson throws a Hail Mary, short, mind you, but they play hot potato with the ball, to get it into the end zone, and one of the Broncos receivers catches it for a touchdown. No time left. They're down 2 now. They go for a 2-point conversion. Russ completely misses the receiver, and the Commanders go to 2-0 for the first time in a very, very, very long time. And speaking of the Commanders going 2-0, I have significantly noticed, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, Joseph, that the Chiefs, without Eric Bieniemy, are a much different team.
I agree. Now, they look better today. I'll give them that. They looked a lot better today, with Kelsey back, obviously. I think there's 2 things about the Chiefs, though. No, I agree. There's 2 things about the Chiefs. I think you're right. You have seen a difference without Bieniemy, and I think people have severely undervalued. There's been all this talk about Mahomes and Andy Reid, rightly so. But Travis Kelce's value, I think people severely was very not, appreciated.
Right. But I don't think you can run out there with just Travis Kelce as your only weapon.
I don't either. I don't think Sky Moore had 3 receptions, 70 yards, and a touchdown today. But, I don't know. Is Sky Moore a guy you can count on consistently every week? You got to have guys. You got to have receivers that you can count on. And I don't know if, Rashid Rice and who was the dude that dropped the balls last week? Who dropped 7 Kadarius Toney. I agree with you. I mean, I think that Isaiah Pacheco, he's a player. I like him a lot. He's really consistent. He's found his rhythm, his role with that team. He had a good game today, but I agree with you. I just don't. And the offensive line didn't look good last week. I mean, you watched that game today. How did the line look better to you?
They did play better. The Jaguars' pass rush is okay, very okay. Trayvon Walker still has a ways to go, but I still am a really big fan of his.
Yeah.
I will say that they lost pass rusher Josh Allen, who had a monster game last week against the Colts. He had like 3 sacks, and they lost him halfway through the game. So that was a huge loss for the Jags. So they held up well. I think the Jags just are suffering from not having terribly good interior line play, mixed with.
Because they didn't run the ball well either today.
No, they didn't. But Chris Jones was back, and Chris Jones looked like he didn't miss a day of camp.
Yeah, but again, I think you're seeing a trend here of pass heavy teams, how inconsistent they are, and I think if I'm the Browns, because really you got to stick to their balance. I mean, obviously there's some games, maybe tomorrow night where you throw more, but I think when you have a Nick Chubb, when you have a Deshaun Watson, when you have a Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, you have a good amount of weapons. I think David Njoku, to keep that balance. I think that's the key. The thing that stood out to me the most is how unbalanced a lot of the teams are.
Right. Yeah. Do what it takes to win. Like
Right.
what we talked about. What we talked about after the week 1 win. It was an ugly game. The conditions were bad. It was pouring rain. But the Browns did enough to win. Deshaun Watson made enough plays. The defense made enough plays to win. We played complementary football on all sides of the ball to win. And I haven't seen a lot of that yet. You're right. The teams look unbalanced. And maybe
that's the problem. They look unbalanced, and the quarterback play hasn't been good this year at all. It hasn't been good in the last 5 years. I don't think it's.
I didn't think I would ever say this, but the NFC, at least right now, looks more competitive. I know that's a very hot take, but I watched the Commanders, I watched Dallas, I watched Philadelphia, NFC champions. I watched the 49ers. The NFC West is a little bit more competitive than I thought. Hell, the NFC South is a little bit more competitive than I thought. The Falcons, Corey, if you're listening, I'm impressed. Way more impressed than I thought I was going to be. Your Falcons are putting up fights left and right. The NFC North has some good teams. The Lions, what is Jordan Love and the Packers? I think the Packers could have a top 5 defense this year.
I'm going to give you another hot take, and I heard my man, Coach JB, shout out to Coach JB, said this today. He posted a video during the games on Instagram. And he thinks Jordan Love hasn't played the best ball in the first 2 weeks out of anybody.
I agree. He looks like a guy who's been developed for 4 years in your system.
He looks calm. I watched the last drive. He obviously they weren't even going to go down and get a field goal there, but I mean, he still plays pretty. I think he's looked better than a lot of people have thought, and I think the team too. The Falcons have looked really good. I mean, Bijan Robinson looks like a home run.
Bijan Robinson looks like I owe Corey an apology for making fun of that pick.
Well, that's how good I like that pick. I was high on him going in. I wanted the Bears to get him, but I think the Falcons are surprising. I think the one thing about the Falcons, they have solid defense. They can run the ball. They got weapons on offense. And Ritter can the more he grows, gets more comfortable. I think that division's wide open. I mean, now we'll go to. I want to talk about that division for a second because the other team that's surprising people. I know you don't want to talk about it. Baker and the Bucks. Baker's
played well.
Good, Mike.
Played well.
He's playing
I'll give him
well.
that. He played well. That's all I'll give him.
He's playing
well. He has beat bad teams. He has beat bad teams. Chicago looks awful. They can't even run mesh. I'm sorry, Justin Fields. You're my boy. But my God, can't throw a screen properly. Not getting DJ Moore involved in your offense. I don't know what's wrong with the Bears. They're going to blow that thing up all over again.
Yeah. It doesn't look good over Bears.
It doesn't look good.
No, I don't look good at all. I had higher expectations, higher hopes, Mike. But
you and everybody else.
Yeah.
You were the whole city of Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago. Man, imagine being a Chicago Bears fan. I mean. You get your hopes so high every year. It's finally the year, and then he's just right down the tube. 2 weeks in the season, Mike. It's like the Giants fans. I thought the Giants because the Giants got some players up defensively, but offensively, I think I saw up until the halftime of their game today, they were out in the first 6 quarters of the season, Mike. They were outscored 60-0,
Yeah.
and that's. I mean, I looked at my dad. I said that's got to be worse than the 0-16 Browns. At least the 0-16 Browns, they were competitive in their games. They just couldn't close shit at the end of the games, But at least they scored points and they were competitive.
Yeah, at least they came back and won. Or the whole city of New York would have blown up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on there.
Between Aaron Rodgers going down and the Giants just sucking air. If the Giants would have lost today, that stadium would be gone. But it would have rioted.
So I didn't watch the second half of this. So let me see. Okay, so the Giants still got it. Man, they scored 31 points in the second half. I didn't know that. I thought they just lost. I saw 60-0 that stat. I'm like, oh gosh, they're done. They come back and win. The Cowboys, Mike, they dominated again.
I think besides the Browns, they've been the most impressive team.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys and the 49ers as well. They got a win today on the road in LA. I thought that was impressive. Back-to-back road games.
I really like what the Cowboys on all sides.
Now, if Gerge is watching this, I'm sure Gerge is pissed today. Our fellow former Michigan native from Detroit, Lions fan. Did you see the end of that game, Mike? The last play, the throw, Geno threw the touchdown to Tyler Lockett to win. Did you see the hold?
Yeah, the Lions, but the Lions still give up all those points. The Lions still need corner help. Yeah. I like their safeties. I really like their safety room. I think Brian Branch, most talented safety in the rookie class this past year. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, so underrated. But their corners,
Jameer Gibbs a little more today. But that holding though, man. If I was a Lions fan, I'd be pissed. I feel like we got robbed.
I agree with that.
That's another thing that stood out to me, Mike, the first couple of weeks in college. Watching that Colorado game last night and watching just all the games first week. Just how bad the holdings are, like how bad teams are getting away with all these holdings now. Mm-hmm. There's so much holding, so much bad fundamentals, just like a lot of bad football. And it's just crazy. You just see holding every.
Juwan Taylor got signed to the Chiefs that forgot how to play right tackle.
Look what happened in that game against the Lions last week. Some bitch was offsides like every play, or a false start every play.
They took him out of the game today, Joseph.
And they didn't even call it.
He had 2 false starts. He had 2 false starts and 2 holding calls. They took him out of the game.
Now they want to call it because everybody called it out last week.
Correct.
How many times? It was like every play that night, and they still lost. But it's just like, I don't know, Mike. It's just crazy how much bad fundamentals is being nowadays. But like we were saying, though, we think the AFC is wide open. Joe Burrow is limping off the field at the end of the game, Mike. That's not a good sign. You can tell he's lingering through that injury still, obviously. Mike, if we go into Pittsburgh tomorrow night, I think we should dominate them, to be honest. Because what's the injury report? Do you know, Michael K. Cavan, what's the latest injury report with Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh is down George Pickens, who's dealing with a hamstring, Deontay Johnson, and Cam Hayward. Every player that I just mentioned is highly important to the entire operation for the Steelers.
Can you hear
Cam Hayward's probably their biggest loss.
Can you hear that sizzle on that grill, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
You hear that sizzle? That's what we're going to do tomorrow night. Cook the ass. We're cooking the ass. What's the new field name? Not the ketchup bottle anymore. What's the new field name?
I bought a Jim Brown jersey just for the good luck.
What's Pittsburgh's new field name? It's not the ketchup bottle anymore. What's this place?
Acrisure.
Yeah, whatever. Acrisure. We're cooking the ass of Acrisure today, right? That's what's happening. But
I hope so.
I think so. I think we're gonna go in there tomorrow night, and I think we're gonna lay a whooping. I think Deshaun is gonna have a great game. And I don't think Amari Cooper's playing, but so it's Cedric Tillman time tomorrow night. What do you expect there from Mr. Tillman?
Um,
Or do you think it's just a heavy down Peoples Jones game?
no, I agree. It's probably a heavy Tillman game. Maybe more two tight end sets.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna give. I'll give if Cedric is out there. I'm gonna give him. Um, I'd say 80 yards and a touchdown.
80 yards. Do you think Cedric's going to score?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I believe in Cedric. I think he's a bad dude. I think if he didn't get hurt last year at Tennessee, he would have been a higher draft pick. Personally, I think. I agree. I think too. I'm really curious to see how just the energy of the defense. Can they continue
Oh,
that
they're gonna
tomorrow
be hyped.
night? Because they should be feasting off that offense tomorrow. You got Matt Canada on the other side and Kenny Pickett with no weapons.
Getting pick six.
Yeah. What's your prediction defensively tomorrow? How many pick sixes or fumbles? What do you think? How many turnovers do you think we get?
I think we get 2 turnovers, 1 interception, 1 fumble, and
I'm saying Martin Emerson. Martin Emerson gets a pick six tomorrow night. I'm calling it.
I think Juan Thornhill pick 6.
Ooh, just a Thornhill. I think the matchup that everybody's going to want to see tomorrow night is DeJuan Jones versus T.J. Watt. How does DeJuan do as a rookie versus one of the elite pass rushers in the league? I think he'll make some rookie mistakes because he hasn't been up against a guy like that probably in a long time in his career, maybe since like college, going against Chase Young every day back then. But
Right.
I think he'll hold up just fine. I think it's
a bend don't break kind of thing with that situation. Because
he's a lot more mature.
Juan has the. It's not even like technique at that point because his wingspan is so big, and he's just such a big guy, and he's not slow. Not very, I think he's gonna get. I think he's gonna do okay, but I don't think it's gonna come down to his actual tackle play so much as it's gonna come to his God-given talent.
I agree. I think his talent alone should really help him. I mean, it's helping him already in his career.
The dude's 6'8", and he's got the wingspan of a fucking condor. Like
he's massive.
He has
the largest. He has the largest jersey in all of football, even last year in college. It's a 4XL.
Yep. Yeah, he was next to Wyatt Teller, who is not a small man. No. He was making Wyatt Teller look like a little person.
Imagine his car looks like, what kind of car he got to drive in. He got to pull up in a semi, his ass. He can't drive in the regular, and not even a regular truck. Imagine what kind of car he got to drive around in, the special stuff, like the seat he's got to get customized, all that shit. Oh, my God. That dude is massive. He just looks so massive on the screen, too. Like, it's just not even funny. Just like, you just see this big number 79 come walking out there, just stomping his feet, ready to kick some ass, just tear some head, just pancake everybody he sees in sight. But
if he goes out there and plays well against T.J. Watt, I'll be ready to say that he was the steal of the draft.
You gonna buy a jersey?
We'll have to see what
about it. I'm not gonna lie, I've thought about it. I ain't gonna lie. Shit, I thought about it.
I love my OSU guys, and like he plays well against, one of the best pass rushers in the league.
I agree. It's tempting. I've already thought about buying it if he plays well. But I do think he is going to be we both agree. He's probably going to be the franchise right tackle for the next 5-10 years. Right. I don't think there's any argument there.
I would have to agree.
I agree. So, but before we get out of here, Mike, going back to the main headline, if you had to say right now, who do you think is the biggest threat in the AFC to the Browns?
That's a good question.
Because it's tough, man. It's so inconsistent. I'm going to say, I'll go first, if you don't mind. I'm going to say,
I'm gonna say Mahomes and the Chiefs still, only because it's Mahomes and Kelsey and Andy Reid. Because I'm really just betting on who I trust. I don't trust Josh Allen. His decision making's
They had a
terrible.
big game today, though.
He did, but he's so inconsistent though. Like you just can't. You know what I mean? Next week it could be another an interception parade next week. So I'm still gonna say Mahomes because I think they've earned the right to. But I don't believe in their depth. I don't believe in the receiver room. I don't think it's consistent enough. But I'm gonna say Mahomes and the Chiefs. And I'm curious to see how we look against Baltimore in 2 weeks because I think we should win that game. But I mean, here, Baltimore, they do what Baltimore does. They stick to what they do well, run the ball, and play good defense. They would be probably my and between them and the Bills. But I just don't trust the Bills, to be honest. I just don't. They're so
Yeah.
inconsistent. I would have to say
If-
Chiefs 1, and I would say 2. I would have to say the Ravens right now.
I'm gonna just go the Browns. The Browns could be their own worst enemy. However, if they play to potential week in and week out, they do what they're supposed to do. If they play to their talent level, there's nobody in the NFL that they can't beat, and that they shouldn't beat.
I agree.
So,
And if Deshaun Watson play starts getting back to being Deshaun Watson, I mean, my gosh, you imagine how good they're going to be?
right?
I mean, it's going to be a great test tomorrow. Tomorrow night should be a great night for Cleveland sports fans, Mike. It should be a great night. We're going to on Monday Night Football. It's going to be a great day tomorrow. We're going to go into Pittsburgh. We're going to whoop that ass. We're going to get a W. We're going to go 2-0. Then we're going to come back home and we're going to play the Titans, Mike. We're going to go 3-0 there, Mike. And then we're going to play the Ravens. We're going to go 4-0 going into the bye.
That'd be great. 4-0. What sounds even better? 3-0 in the division. So let's make it happen, Brownies. I think it's possible.
Just like Coach Prime says, you got to believe. I believe.
Yeah, I agree.
I believe. Real quick, I guess we probably should hit on that real quick. What'd you think of that Colorado game last night? Everybody stay up watching that.
I fell asleep, but it was good. Shame about Travis Hunter. That was awful. I hope he comes back soon. He's such an exciting player to watch.
Yeah, that was definitely a late hit for sure. Man, that was I can't believe they didn't call a flag on that.
They did, but they didn't eject it.
That's what I'm saying. Like they didn't you thought it would be targeting,
right?
But he hit him pretty high, and you don't like to see that guy get hurt. You hope hopefully he comes back soon. That's what sucks about it because now he's out for 2 weeks from the big games for Oregon and USC. Where he's not going to play. So I thought it was a great game though. Shedeur Sanders is that dude. He
very well could be
getting better and better each and every week. He's just very poised, very calm, sits in the pocket, doesn't make many mistakes. I'm really impressed with Shedeur. I think he's probably been the most impressive quarterback to me so far the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, Shedeur Sanders looks like a bad man.
He sure is. But, all right, Mike. Well, I think we came on tonight, recapped real quick. Who do you got tonight in that game? Who's playing tonight?
Pats and Dolphins. I initially said the Pats. I'm going to stick with it. I thought upset. The Dolphins are playing pretty damn well to start, but we will see.
I picked the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are actually. We forgot about the Dolphins. We didn't even mention them. We didn't even mention them in the AFC.
Well,
I think they'll be. I think they're going to make. They're making the playoffs for sure. I think.
Yeah.
As they stay healthy, that offense is a problem. The mismatches they create. That offensive staff is a hell of a staff over there. What they got going on. Yeah, we forgot about 2 other Dolphins and Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill might be that dude. You think he's the best receiver in the league?
He very well could be. He's the one receiver that I watched him play, and I'm like, he's underpaid. And
I heard somebody
$25 million a year, and I'm like, he's underpaid.
I heard people say stuff this week. Like Warren Sapp was saying this. You remember how Randy Moss was so just bigger, faster, stronger? You could not stop him. He was just so dominant.
Yeah.
There was no answer for him. Tyreek Hill, people are saying, is the midget Moss, where there's no game
Midget.
plan. There's no game plan for him. Like he's just that good. He's so
Yeah, do your
unstoppable.
best.
He's the midget Moss. That's what he is. But
Wow. Dolphins about to score.
yeah. But all right, Mike. Well, you got anything else to lay out here, brother?
Go Browns. Let's take care of business tomorrow.
Let's do it. Let's go Brownies. Let's get the dub tomorrow. Mike, tell people why they need to like, subscribe, and share.
You need to like and subscribe and share because it helps us with the algorithms and stuff. And if you like this show, it helps support us.
Yeah.
So
Hit
help
the like
support
button. Hit that like button, people. Leave a comment.
Leave a comment. Let us know what's going on.
Yeah, we love all you guys. We appreciate your support. The day ones. We're gonna keep growing this thing every day. And go Browns around it, right, Mike? Go Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns. We'll see you guys next one. I'm out of here. Gone.
Later.